It's a growth industry. I could tell you that. I mean, 10 years ago, nobody even thought about podcasting to begin with. I
No.
mean, the thing was big. I think was blogs at the time. Now, where are blogs at? I mean, they're still around, but the hottest thing right now is podcasting. Some of the influencers on the channel are raking in millions of dollars. So that's definitely an industry to be a part of, which is great.
Hello, I'm John Brink, and we are podcasting on the Brink from downtown Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. And for all those people that are watching us from around the world saying, oh, we know where Canada is, and in British Columbia on the west coast, right, right. And then there's a big city, Vancouver. Where are we in regards to Vancouver? Well, we are 500 miles north, or 800 kilometers for our friends in Europe, north of Vancouver. That puts us in the center of British Columbia, north-south, east-west. And Prince George is about 80,000 people, beautiful area, lots of trees, lots of lakes, within 50 miles, 100 lakes, and lots of friends, black bears, grizzly bears, caribou, deer, foxes, wolves, you name it, we got them all. We call it paradise. Today we got a very, very interesting podcast. The podcast is with Al Kushner, who is a celebrated thought leader, award-winning author, an author of the AI-driven personal branding, and artificial intelligence is one of the main topics. There is his book, The AI LinkedIn Advantage or Advance, and he will talk about that as well. It is one of the main topics around the world, and obviously with me as well as to have an expert like Al in our discussion is going to be very, very interesting. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
So let's dive right into it, saying that for anybody, and there are very, very, very few of those that think that AI or the artificial intelligence will be going back into the bottle, highly unlikely. We are far beyond that. And likely is now being understood by lay people indirectly, although we are using AI in part of our companies that we do in our day-to-day interaction. It will change the world, and likely even more or no less than computers did in the early 80s, 40 years ago. And so to have somebody like Al not only sharing his ideas with us, but obviously introducing us to his book, The AI LinkedIn Advantage, very, very interesting. So, Al, where are we at now with AI for our common people, for them to understand, where is it leading us already? How will it change the average individual? And how will it change our jobs that we have now in a lot of ways?
I would say that my book helps people to understand how they can use AI to be more effective on LinkedIn, which is a great platform for those who want to connect, whether they're looking for a potential employer or if they're a job seeker or entrepreneur, that looking to connect. It's a great platform to use. I think the AI technology will help to shorten the time frame on whether it's crafting content or creating scripts or videos. It has so many applications, and my book really helps address these issues and become a resource for people who want to take advantage of the technology to help them be better on LinkedIn.
Now, there are even experts that are being recognized as expert express some concerns about what it may do to, if you wish, the status quo or what we see today. Part of what I do is I'm in manufacturing, in a number of areas. I'm a lumber manufacturer with a number of mills. I'm also in warehousing, distribution, and logistics. I'm also in real estate, residential, commercial, and industrial. I'm an author, I'm a public speaker, and obviously I'm a podcaster. AI will become and is already part of all the things that I do and will go much further than where we are now today. That manufacturing, for one, will be substantially driven, in my mind at least, by artificial intelligence and introducing that in the production process where routine jobs that were being done can now likely be done through AI. The same is warehousing, distribution, logistics. The same applies, at least in my mind. I don't know exactly what it will look like, but I know it's going to be part of it. And the same in real estate, residential, commercial, and industrial. And then obviously the other one is being an author. I'm working on my sixth book. The last one is coming out that I do, and I'm going to show this one here. It's all about communication skills. That all the billionaire is talking about what was their foundation. All of them were excellent communicators, either acquired or natural, but in a way, that part of their success substantially was because of being effective communicators. As an author now, for all intents and purposes, and in none of my books up to this point have I used AI, but for all intents and purposes, you can now write a book using AI in probably a couple of hours.
Okay, that's true. What the question is, what's the quality of the book that comes out? Example, are any of your books won awards, for example?
They're all bestsellers.
Okay. Excel is kind of a loose term for a lot of people to use. I always try to separate from that. I can say my book's bestseller. The key thing when you come with AI technology itself, AI can write a book and become a bestseller as well, based on the category on Amazon.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you have to be proud about a book that you're presenting. And when you're presenting a book, it really represents who you are. And AI is not there yet when it comes to that technology. So I think there is a lot of, it's in its infancy at this point. I don't think it's going to replace authors at any time I see it. But I think if you want to be authentic, it's a great tool to use, but it's not the end all.
Yeah, so from my perspective, and my books are directly relating to who am I and what experience. I'm going to be 85 in 2 months from now. And so I'm nearly 85 years young, I call it. And obviously I've had a lot of experience. Started with nothing, couldn't speak the language, all of that kind of a story. I was born in Holland in 1940. Just before the war, saw far too much that we should not have seen, who played a role even still today in my life, on and on. And then I had a dream to build my own company and went through all the ups and downs. And people said, should write a book about that. But writing books, as you know, and as I know, and from my experience, is not easy if you want to do it the right way. I'm a storyteller. That's who I am. And so that's what my books are all about. And so for 20 years, I went up and down and up and down. And then I knew about 6 years ago in my mid 70s, if I don't do it now, it will never happen. So I started writing. The first one was Against All Odds. And not how successful John is, but more about all the ups and downs along the way. And so a lot of my books are relating to all of that in a way. And then the last one that I did before this one that's coming out in July is the one about living young, dying old. And that's about fitness, health, and all the other things. Picture of me actually at I'm the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America, and still competing. But it's not about that. It's more about quality of life and staying fit and healthy and mentally, physically, and all of those things relating to that. So,
Um, just a quick question. Uh, am I interviewing you or are you interviewing me? I'm just trying to figure out where we're at over here because it seems to be. I'm here to talk about my book and AI technology, so I'm not sure exactly where this is going in the next 40 minutes. Are we going to hear to address your books itself, or are we going to talk about my book that I brought off here, my AI LinkedIn Advantage? I'd really like to get involved with that.
yeah, I thought it would be helpful to you. You probably already checked on my history as you wanted to be on my podcast. And so I just wanted to make sure that I gave you a little bit of background about me.
Yeah,
That was the whole purpose. And sorry if it was not part of your plan. So
yeah. I
then
just
let's
want to make
start
sure what the
talking about
direction is.
your book.
Right. So, yeah. So let me know if I can ask any questions that I can answer for you about the
Yeah,
book.
yeah. Talk about it. Tell us what made you do it and what is it
Great.
all
Well,
about.
the idea was that I looked in the marketplace to see what books were available on LinkedIn, and also if they had any books that and combined both LinkedIn and AI. And the fact was is that there wasn't anything available. So I created the book to have this way to have people become have a resource available to them, so they can learn about using LinkedIn more strategically and effectively.
Okay. And so, is this the first book that you wrote, or is it?
No, it's my fifth book actually.
Okay.
My last book I wrote was a different topic and actually won an award I'm very proud about. And but I'm looking forward to making more books, particularly on AI, since it's just a growth industry. So I think there's a lot of opportunity available to share my knowledge with a lot of people who are misunderstanding how it works.
So, give us a bit of background on you individually, Al. Where were you from? Was your training? And then what did you do, as a career? And then what brought you into public speaking, likely, and then obviously books? And then maybe share with us the different books that you did and how you advanced to AI relatively new that obviously impressed you. And you then wrote the book about AI and especially as it relates to LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, my background is insurance. I was in the insurance field since 21, and I always worked for myself. Always became independent, and I grew my insurance practice, and I developed a specialty focusing on seniors 65 and over, because in the U.S. Medicare is very much a excellent healthcare plan for those who are needing coverage. Obviously in Canada it's much different, of course, when it comes to health coverage,
Is
but in the U.S.
universal, yeah.
Yeah, but in for those who are reaching 65 or those under 65, certain disabilities can qualify for Medicare, which covers both hospital and doctors, and that's been a big challenge, particularly in the industry, because in the U.S. it is mostly private pay for the most part, and there are people could be in situations where they don't have any insurance, and they can be fall victim to thousands of dollars in hospital bills and doctors without ability to pay back, and that's been a really big challenge in the U.S. government in trying to provide universal coverage, but it's not something that I see in the future that happening. But when it comes to features like Medicare, it's similar in a way that it has universal coverage because it's for those who reach a certain age and also have to work a certain amount of years in the business, at least 10 years, to qualify for coverage. And they'll cover both hospital and doctors, which is great and gives you the flexibility of going to any doctor or any hospital in the US, which is amazing. You're not in a PPO plan, which I think in Canada is like that. I believe in a way you have to go to a certain doctor and such, and you're kind of limited, and you have to wait for surgery. Is that still true for months before
Well,
you can get?
universality is part of the Canadian system versus the United States. but it has challenges as well, and part of it is, that not being able to make your own choices in terms of necessarily doctors and facilities or hospitals, but the maybe just since you're an expert on this as well, is that what we're hearing now, we watch a lot of US and Canada are very close, obviously, as you well know.
Yeah.
And what we see now in the United States in particular, a lot of changes are being debated in the Senate and in Congress about the budgets going forward, and then reducing the most of the cost obviously is in care, in different descriptions of people, and trying to reduce certain segments, including health and benefits in those areas. And that likely would be a concern to you, especially for clients that are in the older age, like at the time that health becomes critical for most people when they over 60 or in the last decade of their life. Health is so critically important, and we have the benefit here of universal health care, which is otherwise could you could lose everything really if you had to pay for all the things that somebody needs, and so that's a real challenge for the people that are well off. Healthcare is as far away as the airport, because we can, if we so decide, go to the United States and do private complementary healthcare to the system if we so desire.
Well, that's a nice feature. That's a nice benefit. I think when it comes to my focus on Medicare, is that it gives you the ability to go to any doctor, any hospital. It also has features where you can also go to participating ones, but you get extra benefits like dental care as well as optical care. So those things are certainly really great benefit for a lot of Americans.
So where is it going from here on in? You alluded to that a little bit. Is that there are more challenges as obviously the incumbent government is trying to reduce their objective are reduce taxes, in particular to the more fortunate segment of the population, at the expense maybe of some of the benefits to the not so fortunate.
Well, there's a lot of proposals on the agenda, you might say.
Right,
But I think when it comes to certain types of benefits like Medicare, that's usually, and Social Security, which is also another benefit as well.
right,
That's something that a lot of the elected officials try to avoid, because a lot of the voting public is, of course, have a very much persuasive way of looking at that, is protecting the seniors' rights and the
right,
ability to collect benefits. And I think that's something that is usually not touched upon. There are other issues they are focusing on, called Medicaid, for those who are under a certain income and are not able to get, insurance because they can't afford it. That's
right,
something that they are requiring, whereby things that they may need to work 80 hours a month in order to continue their benefits. That's on the table right now, and that's
right.
pretty controversial.
Yeah, I can see that. So then that part, then what brought you to becoming an author? And so when you started, what was the first book that you did, and was that relating to what issues?
Yeah, well, my first book I did, The Savvy Guide to Buying Final Expense of Burial Insurance, and that was addressing issues for people who of a certain age could qualify to get burial insurance to cover their costs, so they don't become a burden to loved. And that's something that was a really passion project of mine, because I found so many people, particularly seniors, a lot of seniors over 80, and think they can't get life insurance. And guess what? They actually could qualify for coverage, depending on the carrier that they choose. So a lot of them think that they're not qualified, but they can get coverage. and I'm able to find them the right coverage based on their health and based on their life expectancy. So this was something that was helpful and became a resource for a lot of people who are seeking this information so they can help become not a burden to loved ones when it comes to paying for burial expenses. It could be pretty expensive. I'm not sure in Canada how expensive it is for a funeral, but in
It's
the
expensive.
U.S., it can be upwards. You
Yeah,
know, 50,000 is not uncommon.
yeah.
Depending
So
on how
the
elaborate.
yeah, so the in terms of kind of looking at myself, that life insurance after 65 is not available, really. That's kind of the age limit. That people try to put something in place before that, or benefit from companies that they were involved in some sort or another. But the obviously the objective is that you don't become reliant on family or others to support you in the older age. But I believe that Canada has, I'm not sure how it compares to the United States, but is very beneficial to as you age. But quality of life, to me, has always been one that is very, very important. Understanding, the quality of life and all the elements that are relating to that. So then you want further into other books, and so share those with us that you were doing.
Well, my other book, most recent one, called Virtual Medicare 10 Costly Mistakes You Can't Afford to Make, actually won the Gold Award for its book in its category. And it really helps educate a lot of seniors about some of the mistakes that they can make when they first getting on board with Medicare.
Have you got
And
a
one of the
copy of the
things
book that you can show us there, maybe?
I don't have it in front of me, but you
Okay.
can go on Amazon, take a look. It's called Virtual Medicare 10
Okay.
Costly Mistakes. It has over 200 5-star reviews on
Wow.
Amazon, so I'm really proud of it. It's an
Yeah.
audiobook form as well. And what I like about the book is that it really addresses the issue, particularly about some of the changes, particularly when it comes to permanent, uh, I call it, I'll call it tariff, but if someone, for example, they have to take a drug plan when they do first qualify for Medicare, if they're just solely on Medicare, and if they don't take that, then they'll be subject to penalties, and those penalties can be lifetime. So a lot of people, for example, say, "Well, I don't take any medication." I'm not sure. Do you take any medication at all?
No.
Okay, well, guess what? You would be in a consensus with other people saying, "Well, I don't need a prescription drug plan because I don't take any medication." Well, guess what? Well, that's fine by you, but according to the U.S., you'll be penalized because by the time you do take medication, you have to get a plan to cover that aspect of it. And if you haven't taken it, then you'll be subject to penalties,
Oh.
which could be substantially higher premiums for coverage for medicine. And that's been a big controversy for a lot of
What
seniors.
would be why would be I don't quite understand, but I thought that it would be a good thing, but apparently in that particular case it isn't. Why?
Well, unlike Canada, medications in the U.S. are quite expensive. I mean, you're looking at medication for diabetic medications or cancer drugs could be thousands of dollars, if not more. And there is generally an out of pocket expense, particularly when it comes to Medicare, because medications are not covered unless you have a prescription drug plan. And that's something, unless you have another plan which is similar, called an Advantage plan, which does include that. But for those who are just on Medicare alone, that's something that they must have as a requirement. And when they don't have it, then they're subject to it. And guess what? They have to go to Canada to get their medications. So
Yeah.
thank the Canadians for that. But the problem is that that kind of provides a dilemma for a lot of them who may not want to go get medications from another country in order to maintain their health, and sometimes they forego their medications because they can't afford it, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is critical, right, in life. Like a person like myself being nearly 85, 2 months away. The I have a lot of my friends are no longer with us, but a lot of other friends are, quality of life is not very good, and so it's probably the most important decade that you could have, if the last decade of your life, whenever that may be, so critically important to understand it, have the knowledge, and so as to what to do not only in terms of policy but lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So you really need to understand, because knowledge is power, and my book provides their information so they can learn about to avoid the mistakes, so they can actually be able to get, the proper treatment and the proper, direction they want to take. With original Medicare, they can go to any doctor, any hospital, which is awesome. But if they take a Medicare Advantage, they usually have to go to participating doctors and participating hospitals. Some have out of network benefits, but for the most part, that's the kind of the dilemma that they have to face, what direction they want to take. And it can be quite confusing, particularly for those 65 and over who may not know the direction to take. They always had let's say, a company plan, and all of a sudden that's not there anymore, and now they have to make a decision. And it's interesting because in the US about 20,000 people turn 65 each and every day, so
Yeah.
it's incredible, that amount of people turning those ages. And my book is a resource for them so they can address these issues and avoid the mistakes that they could come across when they sign up for coverage.
Yeah. So just once more, maybe give us the name of where to find it. If you got a website, obviously, but it would be the main website for you where people can find out about all your books and all the information that you have.
Well, every book is separate. For the Medicare book, it's realeasymedicare.com, so they can go and find out information about the plans available, as well as the book that I have on the topic. And for my newest book, it's the AI LinkedIn Advantage. It's linkedvantage.com.
LinkedAdvantage.com. And so where do you go? Are you still doing insurance now, or are you mainly doing consulting and writing books? Are you still in the
Well, I do have,
insurance field?
yeah, I mean, I have clients and they
Yeah,
will always be with me and such. And as you have other businesses as well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
also venture. And I think it's always to be as diversified as possible.
I
So I
I
do,
like it.
yeah, I think it's great. It keeps you busy, keeps you active. And I think what's great about it, my wife wants me to retire, but I told her I can't. I'm having too much fun. So
That, but I say they say that to me too. When are you going to retire? I say, why? To do what? So the key is quality of life and to stay active mentally, physically. Obviously. Now, the other parts that I'm fairly active in podcasting, and I believe so are you. That it's an amazing media that is still on the beginning of exploding, in my mind, around the world. So it creates a whole different area of interest. Having people watching around the world, us in a discussion here about a number of things. Your career, obviously, you as a writer, and AI Advantage in particular, as to what role it will play in people's lives around the world. And, there is no other media that can cover so many people as we do on podcasting in particular.
it's a growth industry. I could tell you that. I mean, 10 years ago, nobody even thought about podcasting to begin with. I
No.
mean, the thing was big. I think was blogs at the time. Now, where are blogs at? I mean, they're still around, but the hottest thing right now is podcasting. Some of the influencers on the channel are raking in millions of dollars. So that's definitely an industry to be a part of, which is great.
Yeah, so the and then relatively new AI. So let's get back to AI as you see it. That on a day-to-day basis, it will affect, in particular, I'm even thinking in terms of going to looking at the schooling system that we have here in Canada, and I presume in the US and other places is the same, just doing traditional teaching, but usually does not include communication skills, for one, or secondly, in terms of new technology in particular. And as we look at AI, that will become such an important part of what people do, how do we bring more of the general population into understanding AI other than through your book? Is a good example of publications that are explaining it, but relatively speaking, not much has been written to the common individual about something that is easily accessible or understood.
Well, I think the important thing is to make yourself aware of, resources that are available that you can turn to get information, whether it's my book or listen to a podcast or an audiobook. There are a lot of uh, topics that general focus on AI. My focus in my book is focusing using AI technology and LinkedIn together. So I use AI to help optimize a lot of my clients' profiles to make it stronger. So when they do go in outreach and connect with someone, because in life, there's an expression, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Well, that's true. And as soon as people look at your profile and they see that something's kind of off, they're going to move on to somebody else. And that really is going to be not a good thing when you want to establish yourself as a thought leader on that platform. And this is definitely a good way to use it in a way that can optimize your profile. So when you decide to do outreach, it strengthens your position as someone that they want to connect with.
Yeah, so it's LinkedIn in particular is very, very popular. It's not being used as much as it likely will be in the future, or is. What
Oh, it
is your
definitely is. It's growing. Since infancy, I think about over 20 years ago, it started. It rose right now to over 900 million and more, I believe, of people who are on the platform. And Microsoft, who had taken over LinkedIn, bought it out, has really made incredible changes to the platform, which is really um, great for a lot of people who want to connect with people around the world. I mean, it really gives you the ability to have a resource. So, for example, if I was an author looking for speaking engagements, you can use LinkedIn to connect with potential organizations that are hiring speakers. I mean, this is incredible. Where normally you couldn't do that with Facebook or other platforms, it'd be very challenging to say the least.
So if you look at the platforms in particular, some of them are disappearing. Which are the ones that, from your perspective, are the ones that are advancing as we go forward? And it, with this in particular, like 5 years ago, we didn't know anything about AI. At least I didn't, and a lot of other people didn't. But now it is becoming more and more interesting. But the same is the platforms. Which platforms? Which model of platforms, likely in your mind, will become dominant? The one being LinkedIn, obviously. Which are the other ones? YouTube, possibly, or Facebook, or
YouTube, Instagram, obviously, TikTok is obviously there, and I mean those things just come to mind. I mean, it's hard to predict what the future is going to bring,
right?
but as with anything, things can change, in an instant. People may not remember MySpace. Do you remember MySpace?
No.
Exactly. Well, that was a kind of a before LinkedIn, or before actually Facebook came around. There was MySpace, and that was a way that people kind of connect. And it just Facebook just overtook it, and now, like I said, you have to Google it to find out what it's all about. But the fact is, it's hard to say in 20 years from now where these companies will be. But I think certainly LinkedIn will be at least part of that in the future.
Correct me if I'm right, and I'm just guessing. I'm a layperson for my age. A lot of people my age never even used Facebook or have computers or did email for that matter. I'm I'm active in it, but I'm certainly not a specialist, and I rely on people around me more than that. So but then as you look forward, then that more and more we becoming global in my mind. I was born in Holland, and as I said earlier, and so I grew up speaking Dutch and dialect, and then came to Canada to learn to speak English, but interact in English, and so more and more now through vehicles like AI, it likely will go further and further. We can already see it in podcasting that we get guests from China in some cases, Australia, Greece, Russia, even, and some other places, and more where people can start interacting in whatever language and very quickly translate it into a common language or interact in their language through the use of vehicles like AI and others where communication skills become much more global, not only in one language. English is very commonplace, but more and more it will likely include other languages, and more people will start becoming more interactive in all the things that we do. Where are the opportunities in your mind, and especially thinking AI in a global industry and thinking potentially uh, podcasting, but also the other platforms? And I've been thinking in terms of potentially a platform. What what should it look like, and where are the opportunities? And if I look back, if I were there when I first started, as you likely did, blogging, and then gradually in the last 4 or 5 years started working in podcasting, where are the opportunities now in your mind for communication on a more global level?
Well, I mean, certainly platforms like LinkedIn allows you to connect with people around the world. And if you use the platform strategically, you'll find that it'll create a lot more opportunities, particularly if you are considered a thought leader, which is what a lot of people are turning to on these platforms to get information from. So if you establish yourself like on that platform with an optimized profile, and if you do any outreach, you will find that you will become a force to be reckoned with. Somebody will turn to you when they're looking for information on a particular topic or skill, and I think, that's important to become a specialist, not a jack of all trades, but someone who is knowledgeable in the area that's going to help them become better at what they do. And that's what my book is all about, is helping you become better at what you do and become a thought leader by using resources like AI technology to create the ability to be considered a specialist, an expert.
So it appears to me, Al, correct me if I'm wrong, that you have always done that in a way, right through your first book as well, to help the public that you were catering to in a way to better understand insurance and insurance related issues. And so I see that as an opportunity as well, as you indicated. The other question is that, in particular, AI and LinkedIn related. Have you translated, just for my interest in terms of, have you translated your books in other languages?
Oh, it's I'm in the process right now. We want to see how receptive it is, in terms because it's just being released July 4th.
Okay.
So I believe that I've done a number of podcasts, and if it justifies doing it, it makes sense. My other book was translated into Spanish because we have a very sizable Latino market in the U.S. And I believe that there's definitely an opportunity for this book to be translated into multiple languages. So I'm looking to see how the reaction goes, and if it goes well, then why not? I'm all for it. It's already became an audiobook, which is awesome, and that certainly helps a lot of people. And possibly audiobook in different languages as well would be great.
Yeah. And again, AI would be a big help in that as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
So
really
the
tremendous.
so did I get it correct? So you did audio as well?
Oh yeah, the book is also in audiobook versions. All my books are in audiobook versions,
Yeah.
and my most recent book was all done through AI technology, which is incredible.
Amazing, right? So the again, kind of coming back to what I said earlier is that it makes me wonder where do we go, and the in all the business that I do, and I'm sure you do, is saying where will things go from here on forward, and all the other things that we do, and but in particular as it relates to the global market for both podcasting and platforms, the ones that disappeared. What made them so successful? Like even Facebook, very successful, obviously. TikTok, very successful. LinkedIn, obviously, very successful. YouTube, totally different, but very successful, and possibly a platform for sure in the future. And if I look at the successful ones, looking at the list going down, I think it is Facebook, then and all the other ones that where will it go? Where do we go individually in terms of from a plan looking forward?
Well, I think technology is always evolving. There's always going to be new players in the marketplace, and I think that one should embrace this capability. I think there are a lot of people who really are not, are afraid of it, and maybe are not, or apprehensive about getting involved with AI technology. And I think that one should give it a chance and see whether or not it can be helpful and useful. And my book is a great resource because it gives them the tools, the resources available, so take advantage of it. And as the future is concerned, I think AI is going to be here to stay. I think it's going to be definitely that will be incredible for a lot of people who are maybe are handicapped or visually impaired that take advantage of the technology. And I think that there is definitely room for improvement, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to be part of that. I hope to be at some point at your age and look back and say, "Wow, I took advantage of everything, and I'm on top of my game," and that's a great thing to be.
Yeah, once you get to my age, the key is to make sure that stay physically fit, mentally fit. Podcasting helps me in that process, for obvious reasons. And then, at the same time, stay current with. I love writing books and telling stories, and obviously that's what I'm doing. And but it's always so interesting to see what's happening on a global level. And then the amazing part is that politics plays always a big part. And the other part in my life has been growing up during the Second World War. So unfortunately, things that we should not have seen is that we both live in North America. I fly a lot and I look outside compared to what I saw and what is happening now in Eastern Europe and the Middle East and all the other parts. We are so fortunate living in North America and the land of opportunity. Both, obviously, Canada and the United States are working very, very closely together.
Yeah, and it has been rather challenging times for both of our countries, as you're probably aware of, with the politics going on and such, and particularly our president, who is also an octogenarian, I believe, almost there, is quite excited about the relationship with Canada and making it stronger. And I think that the living in this country certainly gives you a lot of opportunities. And I think that thanks to technology, um, the people who are creating these softwares, in Silicon Valley, have really exploded in terms of coming up with all these great software and uses. That it's really exciting time to be part of that. That this era of innovation, I would say.
Yeah, it's amazing with organizations like I still remember the early 80s. I still have some of their initial computers, that were difficult to read, and from Microsoft, and to see them still, even after 40, 45 years, still being one of the leaders in technology, and especially as it also relates to AI and other things, LinkedIn, obviously. It's amazing how these companies have, through all the changes, have become dominant, and are so different. Like if I look at Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, they are all different in different ways. Look at Joe Rogan, as a podcaster, and some of the other ones. Podcasting is a challenge, but at the same time, it is growing and expanding all the time, especially with organizations like PodMatch, which brings different parties together that have areas in common. So it's going to be a very, very interesting time going forward.
Absolutely, I agree. So it's always a good thing to be on top of what's happening with the changes. So that's why I love creating my book and giving people an opportunity to take advantage of the AI technology and LinkedIn together to be able to use it as a good resource to advance their career or expand their possibilities.
Show us your book once more, Al. So the LinkedIn Advance, it is out now, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
It is
The
out.
hardcover is out, and that's the one I have over here.
Yeah.
And with an advantage, there is a QR code in the back that people can access and scan directly to my website and more information about what is available. But it's it's an excellent book to get information on how to use LinkedIn, give you the advantage over the competition. Simply put.
We sure will get it right away today and apply for it. Because I believe it is very, very important. It's part of the new technology as we go forward, and very important. I just want to share with you, or I want you to share with our viewers and me, about a lot of people consider writing or becoming authors or writing. It's not easy. I usually say it's that the process of doing and writing books that have a market, even that part is a challenge, and finding publishers is a challenge. Share with us your experience around your experience in terms of your first book on to the fifth one, this one that made you obviously successful. But can you share with those people that are watching us and saying they like to or they want to share their thoughts, whatever that may be, in book form? What does it involve?
Well, it's never been a better time to be an author. I can tell you that because it's so much easier to publish a book now than it was 20 years ago when you first came out. I imagine. And the fact is that with the ability to create a book and you are the author, you can be in total control. You don't have to depend on publishers to do it. You can publish yourself, through Amazon, through Ingram Spark. There's great opportunities available. There's no reason not to do a book if you have it in you. I think the ability is about having persistency. You want to be, if you work on a project, you got to see through it to the end. And that's what I've done. And even with my first book came out, and I faced a lot of challenges with that, mistakes, errors, and printing, and a host of other things before the technology. And now you can print a book on demand. Just think about it. It's incredible, the technology, and it's indistinguishable between that and a published book by a famous publishing house. Indistinguishable. So guess what? It's amazing technology that we're in that we can use, and it's something that a lot of people who are looking to become authors, maybe for speaking opportunities, it's a great way to become an expert in the field that you are passionate about.
And again, as you said, and I agree with that. Through vehicles like Amazon, relatively new. If you look back, that changed everything not only in regards to books and book publishing, but obviously became, a multi-billion-dollar entity. Jeff Bezos, and an amazing entrepreneur, and then looking at your views on podcasting looking forward. What do you see? What advice? A lot of people like to become podcasters. But what are, from your experience, the secrets in that particular market as it goes forward? And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time. And then you already alluded to that. There are people like the Joe Rogans and others that became multi-billionaires, millionaires in podcasting. And what is the secret for those that aspire to become podcasters?
Simple. AI technology. AI can help you create content for those particular podcasts. It can help you develop a script for outreach for guests, and it can create, virtual, whether it's graphics or other things, anything that's going to help you to allow you to become better at your craft. AI can definitely give you that opportunity to do that where it never would have been done before. I mean, it's just really incredible how the technology has grown since the time, and is no time another than now to get involved in becoming a podcaster if you have a passion for it. And that's really something that is, definitely AI can definitely help in that direction.
And the key is, as you said, have passion. And then the other key is persistent and staying the course. But like this
Absolutely.
books, as you already indicated, was not easy to start, and a lot of people really don't get to that point. But there is help, in particular, using vehicles like AI, possibly get better direction from your book, and AI and LinkedIn, the vehicle will help them in that direction as well.
Absolutely. I definitely recommend checking it out, and I appreciate the time.
Yes.
And I look forward to hopefully being on another episode. That would be great because LinkedIn is so broad, and so many topics to talk about. I mean, just on the premium versions of LinkedIn could be a whole episode right there. So,
I like
but
that part. So, for all those people watching us, that if you like our podcast, share it with others, like it, subscribe to both Al Kushner's website as well as ours, and again, Al's book is obviously AI and LinkedIn connected, very very popular book, and I'm certainly going to buy it and to get a better understanding of it. Again, Al, thanks for being on my podcast. And this podcast will be released in about 4 hours from now. We release it as it was presented, uh,
okay,
including your comments of saying, "What is this all about now? Are you interviewing me or in?" So I thought it was an interesting question. We'll leave that in there too. So
awesome. I love it. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn, okay?
I
Because
we will do that.
that's yes.
Again, thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish you luck with it.
Yeah,
Be in touch.
thanks, Al. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.